102.7 FM.
Recently, we were doing a lot in the field of decentralized identities. We were doing some research in that field, verifiable credentials and so on. So I would just say that in a way, there are several ways how we can have identities on blockchain. And some of them are really pretty simple and I would say maybe not so effective. Like you can store your public key, but then somebody can have many addresses and basically we cannot really identify them. Or you can use some of these identity aggregators and you can also use some off-chain solutions. So what do you think about that, guys? What are the options and what is the future basically of decentralized identities?
Well, the identity itself, we need to first define what the identity is and or even better, how do you prove that you own some identity? Mm-hmm. So currently you use your ID card, you show the passport, the driving license, so on. But what is what is the document actually? Yep. It's a claim from the authorized entity that issued your document that you are who you are representing to be.
So basically the identity is not something special if you don't have some kind of authority that is going to give you some sort of credential, right?
Well, you are that entity, mm-hmm. but the multiple documents are just claims that you are who you say you are.
Yep.
So it's basically just if many people say that you are, I don't know, the president of the universe, whatever. Yeah. So if everyone claims that means you probably
are the president.
But it's not like collecting people.
Unless you have some sort of secret cult, and these people are.
Yeah, what that means is it doesn't mean that you find 1,000 people on the street and they just, for the sake of fun, just sign the claim that you are. Yeah. The owner of the city, but
what are the usages generally, and do you think that this is important for? I mean, my personal opinion is that this is one of the most maybe important topics in Web3. Why I think that? Because if we solve it properly, it unlocks lots of different use cases, and in the future we will have options, like from solutions like to prove your working biography. Credentials from the university's courses to some maybe governmental usages like replacing passports, identity cards and things like that. But the problem that we have there is some sort of standard. The problem is some sort of I would say general adaptance of how we do this. And the only thing that probably we know in this point is that if we are talking about identities on blockchain, we should aim for something that is cross-chain, that is not really some very small ecosystem related, but maybe something bigger. Although even these small solutions can work for the specific purpose.
Yeah, I think the name of the game is adoption, and mm-hmm. the best way you can get adoption is actually by making it available on different chains.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yeah, but like recently Vitalik was actually talking about one of solutions or proposals that he said, and I was really curious about it. It's called soulbound tokens. Have you heard about it?
Yeah, we did some research inside a team about those. It's very interesting. I mean, in my opinion, like verifiable credentials and decentralized identities have been around for years at this point. But it's interesting. I mean, he is such a huge visionary, and soulbound tokens are they're destined to get a lot of hype just because he's talking about them. So we'll see which one gets adopted better.
Yeah, you're right. My impression is that if this technology becomes, standardized in a way, if there is a way how this should be done and people are following the standard, then there is a much bigger chance that it is going to be used. Because, like everybody knows, like nowadays when you're making NFT, there is a standard for that and people are using the same contract over and over again. Maybe they will change something, but in general, this is how NFT works. So if we have some sort of standard for decentralized identity in the future, it may lead to that organizations are starting to using them more and basically trust this, because this is now you have a use case that is repeated over and over and over again, and people will have more trust in such solutions, and eventually it will maybe become something that is really huge and big for big projects.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of the most important issues that Web3 has to tackle, but it's got a really long way to go, especially when you talk about the other way around, when you're talking about, like, let's say GDPR or the right to be forgotten. Like, you want to prove your identity, but you also want to be able to disappear when you want to.
That's true, and there are lots of technical issues, and I would say conceptual issues, architectural issues that are that need to be solved in this.
Yeah, but the promising thing is that I think all the chains share the same concepts of digital signatures. So the cryptography is same in both Web 2 and Web 3 world.
Yep.
So it's the same thing. So if you have a signature that is generating an address on Ethereum, the same private key will generate probably the addresses that are usable at any other chain that supports the same signature scheme.